Jacilyn Sanders coming to you again. I spoke on forgiveness, and if you didn't get a chance to see that video, I'd like you to go take a look at it, because we're going to continue from what was mentioned, what was shared last week. And I had a few people ask me about the forgiveness message and the difference between forgiving and forgetting. It's the difference between being wise or being dumb. When someone hurts you, you forgive them, but you don't forget what they did, because that's would be unwise completely. I'll have to share the example of my sisters. My sisters quit talking to me when I started transitioning. They would not talk to me. They first begged and pleaded with me before that, but they didn't talk to me for 3 years at all. Even in the 4th year, they would just say a few things to me. And if I wouldn't have known how to handle that, if I hadn't forgiven them and knew how to handle that, I'd probably be spinning down into unforgiveness again. I had to learn on a personal note with someone that's close that I can't separate from completely, like I couldn't separate completely from my sisters as part of my family. I had to ask God how to deal with this. I'm coming to a scripture in a minute, but how to deal with this issue so it wouldn't take me under again like it had. So what I was shown and what I had seen in the scriptures was to be gentle and kind with my sisters, despite how they harmed me and what they were doing to me. And it took almost 5 years, but my one sister apologized for her actions, for trying to control me and make me what she wanted me to be, instead of allowing me to be who I believed God was calling me to be. There's a scripture I'd like to share with you real quick. It's Matthew 10:16. Matthew 10:16. Behold, I send you out as sheep among wolves. Be as shrewd as serpents, but as gentle as doves. All right. This I want to apply to what I'm talking about. It's not that it was originally intended for that, but it shows how our attitude should be towards everyone. And it was originally a commission that Jesus sent the people out to share the gospel, share the truth. And when he looked at them, he thought of them as being sheep that were going out amongst wolves, those who would try to tear them apart. And in the trans community, we do have a lot of enemies that want to tear us down any way they can and harm us. So that we need to be aware of our surroundings. What a snake has vision, he has hearing, but that's not his primary way of understanding his surrounding and what is around him. He sticks out his tongue, which has a special mechanism that senses things that you can't see or hear without looking into the detail. And I think Jesus is saying here, be wise, be smart. After you have forgiven, be wise, be smart about it. And find out, see in your actions what you need to do with these people. Now, it also says, be gentle as a dove. I don't know if any of you have raised doves. I have not, but I read about it. And doves are one of the most gentle creatures there are to raise as a pet. And so I think what is really meant here is to be humble and be forgiving. Remember last week I talked about forgiving, and Jesus said that to Peter, when Peter asked, how many times should I forgive my brother? And he says, if your brother comes in back to you 7 times today in a day and asks for forgiveness, forgive him. So, and it really meant continually to forgive. And forgiveness is for you, not for the other person. But you do not forget. And there are many cases, if we look into situations of laws and what's going on in society and how it seems to be turning against us right now. Politics are fickle anyway, but I'm more interested in how people respond to us. And I'm concerned about that. I think we need to pray and look into ways where we can make allies aware and others aware of the hatred, like racism, and sometimes it includes racism, that's connected to what's happening in our trans lives, how we feel threatened at times and hurt. Yes, we forgive, but we allow that forgiveness to lead into actions. There are some political movements starting, and I hope to share some more about that in a future message. But again, be as wise, as shrewd as a serpent, a snake, but be as gentle as a dove. Thank you for joining me this day.